Good morning, everybody. If you can give me an audio check, let me know if everything's good. If you can, make sure to like the video. Sounds good? Okay, good. Good. Just give it like less than a minute just for the disclosure, and then I'll put the charts on. I'm probably going to have to ask you guys on the music level again, just to make sure everything is okay. Is the music good right there for you guys? Make it a bit louder. Okay, I will. It's finding the right tuning between OBS settings and the actual video volume. So that's a little bit tricky. Okay, good. Make sure to like the video. If you can retweet it, share it, I'd appreciate it. Once we get to 50 viewers, and I said that, then I will take off the disclaimer. So just give me a second here. I'm very good. Good to see everybody here. Okay, let me know if you can see the charts. And I'm going to turn up the music just a little bit. Somebody commented at me last night on my video to not play music because it decreases my focus, apparently. But I literally cannot trade without music. It's too much. I don't have a Discord. What up, Emmanuel? What's up, my G? Is music good? I know it's kind of subjective, but just want to make sure you at least hear me. Now that the charts are on the screen, I do have to show you, just because we're transparent here. I know this is a silver bullet window, and I did this even yesterday as well, but it was too clear for me not to take the trade. And there's going to be situations, especially when you become more experienced, where you can enter in before the open, enter in before the silver bullet. I'll review this trade, but I had 3 contracts on, and we dipped down into a fair value gap, and we had the relative equal highs. So I was looking to target that. I took a partial off, so I will show the trade as we move here. Good morning, Nick. I will review everything in full, but if you watched last night's video, I was looking for higher prices in general. I think these relative equal highs were way too clean. What about my X account? I mean, it's in the description. Just follow me. But looking here, we have the inversion that we dipped down into yesterday. Today we reacted off of the probably 25%, just eyeballing the wick. So wicks will act as gaps. Dip down into it. I talked about this last night. I'm going to look for an expansion today coming into New York. Looking at the 4 hour. Remember the inversion here. Extend that out in time. We dip down into it. 1 hour. Yesterday we dipped down into a discount, into the fair value gap here. Displaced away from it. Dropped down into this busy here. With core PPI, the event that happened before about an hour ago. We dropped down into this fair value gap here, and then we displaced away from it. I talked about these relative equal highs last night, and even these highs above here. If we drop down into a 5 minute, we displaced higher. ILFVD the fair value gap, and then my entry was inside of here. So we got away from the 5 minute time frame fair value gap. We displaced higher. We dropped down into this fair value gap here. Displaced higher once more. Came back down into it. And we got above the buy side liquidity. It was just way too clean. There's things that permit me to get into the market before the open or before the silver bullet. If things align, again, this goes off of experience. I mean, I've been doing this a long time. So you just have to base it off your experience. If you're newer, elect to wait till the silver bullet. It may suck, but it's all about following rules and discipline. So with the open, I'm going to be looking for the buy side here. This is all week. Besides yesterday, even yesterday in the beginning, I've been looking for higher prices. Again, if you're just coming to the stream, I have a position on already. I took one contract off above the relative equal highs, and I'm going to see if we can get into the buy side above here. Okay, so you can see my entry in here above the buy side liquidity, and then can we get to the highs up here? So hopefully it made sense why I'm entering into the market or why I'm already into the market. Good morning, good morning. So if I was not already inside of the market and looking at the open, I'm going to be looking to see if there's something that would permit me to enter into the market to target 1757. Why did I choose this platform over TradingView? Well, I have Rhythmic, and Rhythmic's platform sucks. But so Quantower is really clean. I don't trust Tradeovate. Tradeovate's, I've had a lot of issues with them, and it's the reason why I didn't want to go with them and put it on TradingView, because there's a lot of times where their servers go out. There's failed connection. You can't place orders. I mean, how many of you have ran in that situations with Tradeovate? I mean, it's ridiculous how many times it happens with them. So I wanted to have like a stable broker. So we're still not even at the open yet, but if you have a news event driver prior to the open, then you're typically going to get this type of price action where it's very volatile. And we just opened up here. Let me go down to a 1 minute here. we got above the relative equal highs here. Take this away. With trade of 8, they're bad. Does that mean you're using your personal funds? No, I'm using my funded futures. I'm funded with them, but I chose their rhythmic option over trade of 8. Just making sure the stream is good. Everything's still good. Dollar index, I'm going to look for it to drop lower into the sell side liquidity, right at basically 102.73-ish. So we did clean up some highs here. If I wasn't already positioned in the market, I'd probably be waiting just for the silver bullet. I'd give it a little bit of time here before trying to chase this. If we close underneath this fair value gap, then I would probably close my position, personally. No, the playlist is from YouTube. I actually get copyrighted from it, but I like it too much. I mean, I don't make anything from YouTube anyway, so they can claim copyright all they want. I don't care about $2. Let me check what it's called. It's called, I could just put it in the chat. So what I'm doing is I'm just observing the 5-minute fair value gap here. In the 1 minute, we haven't closed beneath it. But I would prefer, obviously, not to close beneath it. That's the last point of interest for me, really. Last down close candles here. Bullish order block. So my position is down here where I'm already at a partial with a stops move to break even. So I'm just holding out for the idea that was like the last point of interest. If we drop beneath it, then I probably would have just killed the trade and that would have been that. But everything's still maintaining higher prices. 5 minute fair value gap holding. Get above this down close candle, be treated as a bullish order block, and then we expand towards 1757. At least that's my idea for today. So I don't really want to see it stall out at all. This fair value gap in here would be the last point. Beautiful. So I'm going to take one more partial, as you see here. So I had 2 contracts on. I took another partial. Anytime you're getting above buy side liquidity, making new highs, it's a good point to take out a partial. So far that was about 60 handles or so. Like I said, I know I was positioned in before the open, so, or before the live stream. But I'm giving you the draw on liquidity. 1757 is what I'm looking for. And I'm gonna hold out this last contract until either we get there or I get stopped out at break even, or if something changes. But dollar index dropping lower into 102.73. Hey Trader Sumo, you still in here, brother? I don't see 96.1. I don't know where that went. Did I study the 2022 mentorship or core content? I'm a charter member. I've studied everything. Accidental. Man, I've blown so many funded accounts. I would say I don't even know, 10, 15, 20. I don't. There's been a lot. I mean, I've been doing them for about 3 years. So, but advice is just to take the little ones and do as little amount of fees as possible before you jump into a bigger account. Yeah, of course, brother. I mean, even sorry, I'm looking at the chat. "15-minute unicorn." Wait, where's Trader Sumo, bro? I'm sorry, he's been chirping at me every day in this chat. And I'm gonna show you what a real ICT trader can do, my brother. I'm feeling a little bit hot today, so if you hear me talking, I apologize. Yeah, I know, Danny. I'm not trying to entertain it, but it's hilarious. What did he say earlier? 96-1-ish first target. Okay. Sure, buddy. Get wrecked. I just took out your stop loss, my friend. Yeah, I mean, I've been seeing that. He's going to sit there. I mean, if you were a profitable trader, if you're somebody who actually makes money, would you be inside of live streams and trying to bring others down? No. Am I going to start trolling? No. I mean, that's probably the only thing you're going to ever hear from me. I'm very much drama free. I don't want to be a part of any of it. I'll immediately just block somebody. I don't care. Marco, what would you do if you had 2 losing trades on a day? Yeah, I would stop. That would be it. Just so you guys are aware. So, an entry in here, I pulled a partial above the relative equal highs. I pulled another partial as soon as we got above another buy side liquidity pool. And like I said, if we can expand towards 1757, that'll be the final and last partial, I guess, right? There's a lot of confluences that are happening. I know I'm not talking a lot today because I'm more just focused on my own trade, but dollar index is dropping off heavily in here, which is good. That's what you want to see in terms of intermarket relationships. YM, ES, they're all in sync with each other. They're all in tandem. We talked about last night all the reasons why we should be looking for higher prices. If you're not watching the daily logs, I highly suggest you to do so. I think they're more important than even these live streams because I'm covering price, and then I'm giving my thoughts for the next day and what you should be expecting and rolling into the session with. They're very, very helpful. It's exactly what ICT did for us, and I try to replicate that as much as possible. Why didn't I start streaming pre-entry? Because it was right around like 8 o'clock. I didn't feel like setting up the stream right away. I mean, there's some entries in here that you most definitely could have taken, but I'm giving you the draw on liquidity. You find what works best for you to get into the market. Like the live streams are here to teach you. Yes, will I give signals, will I enter the market and show you where to enter? Yes, but I'd rather you learn, see the draw on liquidity. If I can point to where price is going to go, then you find your own entry pattern, whatever works best for you personally to enter into the market. Like, again, you have to remember this is free. Like, if I give signals out every single day, I mean, I'm just giving away free money. It's a small inefficiency here. Yeah, exactly, Nick. I mean, I genuinely want all of you to learn how to fish and how to do this. I mean, just sitting here and waiting for signals is absolutely useless. Better off going to a gas station, buying a lottery ticket every single day, and hoping you win millions, because you're never going to be successful if you sit on live streams and just wait for signals and don't actually want to learn this. See that inefficiency here? When you're in a price run like this, where it's extremely bullish, you're gravitating very quickly towards a clear drawn liquidity, there's no reason for price to drop lower than this 1 minute fair value gap. Everything else is already balanced in here. There's no reason for price to drop back down into this. It's a breakaway gap. We displaced away from here. Do I find this a good entry? Not necessarily. I mean, it definitely can give you a quick scalp, but I just don't like buying at a super high premium, and that's the reason why I entered in before the open, because I had a very high expectation we were going to run the highs and displace higher right from the jump, and I'd rather be positioned in before than trying to catch a long at the top here. It's just, to me, it's a little less probable to do so. Thank you, Chase. We'll be at 10K in no time. Observe dollar index. We're about to tag the sell side at 102.73. Yeah, of course, Emmanuel. I mean, you're giving your own plug to your socials. I mean, everybody, if you want to follow Emmanuel, go over there. He's got some good content. Looking at the 5 minute here, right? We have about 30 seconds to the close, and this is just me kind of predicting or foresighting into the future. If we close, we would form a fair value gap here, which would be the parent to this 1 minute. So even though you don't see it on the 1 minute, if we form it on the 5 and you see price drop down into it, it's still fine. But I'd prefer if we just made the fair value gap opened, displaced higher, leaving that breakaway. There was a lot of confluences to today. I think it was fairly easy to see. I wish this happened, you know, obviously at the open and during the silver bullet, like all this price action down here. But obviously we can't control that. Look at the 1 hour. Beautiful reaction off of the BISI in here. Displaces higher. 4 hour daily. I talked about this last night, how we should expect higher prices, even to end off the week. I wasn't expecting TGI Friday, that template where you have a retracement back 20 to 30% back into the weekly range. I'm not anticipating that, because the profile to me is extremely bullish. So when I'm looking at it, I'm going, okay, we should probably expand heavily to close out the week rather than retrace back into the weekly range. TGI Friday is subjective to what's happening that week. It's never 100%, you know, obviously template. Let's go down since the 5-minute closed. Well, that's the thing if you entered in on this 1-minute fair value gap. This is the reason why I don't like it. It's super high up in this premium. But I'm looking at the parent PD array, which is here. So it may dip down into this, so my stop loss would have to go beneath this low here. And I'm going to move my own stop loss. I'm going to trail it up. I know there's a lot of questions. I'm trying to go back and forth. You can also trade NASDAQ on Forex prop firms through CSTs. I've done that before. I don't trust Forex prop firms right now, at least in the US. I do not trust them. I have a feeling a lot of them will go under. So I'm with futures. I'm rolling with futures. That's just my personal opinion. I also don't like spread on indices in the CFDs. Because I'm more or less a scalper. So I don't like having spread. I don't like having commissions and fees on top of me. But again, that's just all personal. You mentioned 3 models in one video. That's called Charter Member Models on my YouTube channel. Chase 5-minute looks like first part of market maker. Well, when you put the X in there, I gotta. Is it a sell model or a buy model? So in here, I'm gonna see, do we react off of this 5-minute? Divergence with Dow? No. So on the close here, I'm really looking at the last 20 seconds. I'm going to see how we close inside of this. So the bodies haven't closed beneath it yet, so it's still valid. And this last down close candle is also a bullish order block. But I would really like price to get away from that inefficiency here quickly. So do you see on like the 2, the 3, the 1, there's no inefficiencies here, but on the 5-minute there is. Eric, that's because I don't like the magnet. It can be a little touchy. It just annoys me. No, just because dollar is making a slight retracement on a 1 minute time frame doesn't mean that Dow's gonna, or NQ is gonna drop lower. How do I use the 10 minute and 45? It's just something I have on here. It's not something I'm really looking at. I'll just look at it periodically. I mean, time frames again, every single time frame matters, so the one's not more important than the other. They all work together. How to get all the time frames? You have to favorite them with the star. Otherwise, it's just going to be a drop-down menu. I'm going to adjust my trailing stop loss. That's in profit here. It really needs to displace away from here and make an actual sudden displacement. We may drop down into this discount here. I'd prefer it obviously not to do that, but it's just something to keep in mind. Because we have this bullish order block here, this last down close candle. So really what I'm observing is does this really want to continue higher in here? So now we're inside of this discount. From that dealing range high, or low to high in here. Now we're tapping into optimal trade entry with this fair value gap. And we're at the mean threshold of this order block. It's basically the last chance. Last chance for this thing to pop higher today. I don't like any of that. So I was taking out trailing stop loss. So I was still obviously profitable on my trade because I was positioned in here, but I was wrong on the obviously where this draw is going. And this is where even just waiting for the silver bullet can really be profitable for you, because now we just moved into the silver bullet. And you see this outright reversal at the silver bullet. Box 15-minute breaker. Yeah, I don't particularly like the sell-off in here, but let me reanalyze a few things. If you see me obviously not talking, it's because I'm trying to reanalyze what we're doing in here. See, that's a good reminder. Thank you for telling me that. So we have the RTH gap was residing in here. We opened, closed a little bit of it, rallied away from it. So I'm gonna keep this on here. I'm not sold on particularly trying to short this thing. It's not really my intention to do so. All right. So there is a bullish breaker here, but I really don't like any of that. Well, I'm not going to do anything right now besides just watch. So even though I took a trade on my live account, I will see if there's something I can take on stream, because we're now inside of the silver bullet, which is the main focus of the live stream. But I'm not particularly sold on the idea just because we've had a displacement lower in here that we're automatically bearish. I think we're tapping into this 1 hour fair value gap. You have a 30-minute discount fair value gap. So all we've really have done, if you're looking at the dealing range from this high to low, or low to high, we're just dropping down into a parent dealing range. And this last up close candle here is your bullish breaker. So watch how we close inside of that. We're revisiting this fair value gap here. Just because you have retracements that are sudden like this doesn't automatically make it bearish. There needs to be certain things that are aligning. I mean, dollar index I still see going lower. Still see it. It really hasn't made any, outright reversal or anything. Still see it attacking sell side. We're inside of the 1 hour fair value gap, the 30-minute, 15-minute breaker, 5-minute discount fair value gap. So to me, if you look at like a 1 minute, I would like to see these civvies run over, and there need to be some sudden displacement and some evidence for me in order to get long in here. If you look at Dow, I'll bring it up. So it's not an SMT because they all made higher highs. They're all still in sync. But you see how ES and NQ closed above this high here. Dow failed to do that, but that's not an SMT divergence. They all made above their highs. If it got above this high and NQ and ES didn't, then yes, that would be a bearish SMT. But even looking at ES in here, we have a low, a high, a lower low, then a higher high. So all of these consecutive up close candles, particularly the last one, are your bullish breaker. So I'm not sold on the idea of this thing going lower. I think it was, to me, just a retracement before we head higher again. guess I could put this on. So we have this SIBI here. If we close above that, then we'd be looking to utilize that as an inversion. I'm not looking to short off of these because the information we just talked about. So if you're ever looking at a 1 minute, like why didn't my fair value gap work? Why didn't this setup work? It's due to you maybe not taking in the information. And if I'm wrong, if this thing sells short off of it, then it is what it is. But you have to draw the line in the sand with your bias and your obviously your analysis and say, I'm electing to stay on one side, and I'm not trying to short. I'm not trying to do anything else besides long right now. So do you see in here how some people would be seeing the sudden rapid drop lower, and they're like, oh, it's short, and they start trying to short these fair value gaps in here. That's not valid. You can't do that. You have to understand what's happening in terms of intermarket relationships, looking at the higher time frames. What did we just do? All we did was just drop down into a discount. Breaker, look at the 1 hour. What's the 1 hour order flow looking like? IOFED, this fair value gap, displaced higher. Sometimes you can't predict a retracement like that, where you just have a sudden drop lower. So you just have to get back into sync with order flow. So I'd like to see it overrun this. We have about a minute, so I'm visualizing again a minute to the closure in here. This would be a bullish order block if we close above it. So fair value gap in here. I'd go long in here. So I already took a trade on my live account, so I'm just going to do it on paper trading for your guys' sake. Entry was not the absolute best, but I was just expecting IOFED. My stop loss is going to go beneath this low in here and underneath that SIBI. Bullish order block here. So this is an old new week opening gap, that blue line in here. I haven't been utilizing them that much this week just because I think things have been pretty clear without them. So I'm looking at like a 2 minute here, just because there's that 5 minute order block. Let's see where my stop loss is in accordance to that. Yeah, it really needs to move away from this inversion here. So obviously that's not the best entry with paper trading. It lagged. I would rather wanted that IOFED in here. If I get stopped out here, then I'm probably done for the day. It's a Friday. Yeah. So I was wrong on my overall idea. I mean, unfortunately, it seems like this happened yesterday. I didn't take it on my live account, so that is what it is. I would be done because from here we should have just placed higher. So what was that in terms of loss? About 25 handles or so on NQ. Okay, if you took a loss, it's just a transaction. It's something that you can always make back. Do we have a holiday next week, Nick? So in hindsight, you could have shorted here, but I didn't see that as a short. There's no reason for this particularly to go short in here. I'm okay. I got you. So after you take a loss, be able to just sit. Same thing I did yesterday, where I took a loss and made it back. You allow yourself 2 trades in one session. If you get stopped out, you take a chill for a second. You don't immediately try to get back into the market, try to get revenge, try to figure out where the next point is. Wait for more information, let your emotions chill out. I know it's a harder thing to do than say, but for me it's the best thing to do. If I was on a live stream, then I'd walk away, go get food, go get water, and then come back to it and be like, alright, is there something here that I missed? Is there something that I can possibly get back into? If not, then you close your laptop or your computer and you're done for the day. There's nothing else I would have done differently. Because I particularly don't want to short this. There's no reason to want to short this right now. With dollar dropping lower, I don't see any evidence to want to short this. But I could be completely wrong, right? But that's where, to me, I'm just drawing the line in the sand, and I'm electing to only trade one side of the order flow right now, because there's not enough evidence for the other side. So for me, I'm only going to look to trade one side of the order flow, which is bullish. So I'm just going to take everything away from the 1 minute and just look at it clearly. Four-hour order block we drop down into. So even looking at dollar index, I mean, it's about to take out the sell side here. Yeah, so I'm electing to do nothing currently. I'm just trying to analyze maybe what is really trying to play out. Possibly with TGI Friday, do we want to retrace back into the weekly range? I mean, it's not something I'd want to see. I just don't see any particular reason to do so. Why? Because if we're looking at even a 1 hour, we've dropped down into a discount yesterday, into this buy side imbalance, displaced away from it, dropped down into this morning into this fair value gap, displaced higher, above relative equal highs, and we're dropping down into another inefficiency. And with dollar index dropping lower, I can't make the case for price moving lower. I don't see any sell side, and I could be completely wrong. So this is where, to me, like I've mentioned a few times now, it's just electing to do nothing. To me, this is pretty aggressive seek and destroy. I mean, there's some really good scalps in here, but taking out sell side, buy side, and if we run for the sell side again, that's a very aggressive seek and destroy day. I've been trading for about 6 years now. And this is where, like, a lot of, just gonna make note of the loss. A lot of influencers on Twitter, like, they'll take that loss and then they'll end up having a win. They're just not gonna show you that loss. And this is where I like actually being live on stream and showing a loss, because it happens. It's normal. Like, social media literally morphs people's views and opinions of what trading actually looks like. Trading is a lot of losses. But in here, if you only lost 25 handles, a normal trade that you should be looking for is 50, 75, 100 handles. Even on IQ, that's fairly easy to do if you're on the side. Even this morning, you saw me here. I mean, that ran for almost 80 handles, 90 handles. So as long as your risk management's good and you hold out for your winners, you're always going to be at least in the green. Just not making so many mistakes and going back into the market all the time. Especially if you're looking at a 1 minute. There's so many opportunities on a 1 minute that you could see, and you just have to pick the right one. Sometimes you're not going to get it right. Did I go to college? Yeah, I did. And I found out about trading when I was in college. I was 18. 6 months later, I dropped out. Taking out sell side liquidity here. Again, I'm not looking to short. I'm not looking to do that right now. So I have to stay on side with a bullish narrative. And if it doesn't prove that to me, then I can't do anything. I'm not going to short this either because I don't see enough evidence towards it. And if it ends up just falling off, then it is what it is. But in here, let's just play devil's advocate. There's a 5-minute bearish order block. We dropped down, retraced up into the SIBI, displaced lower, and then the bearish order block there. Exactly, lost. I mean, it really is a game of probabilities, and I talked about this yesterday. I was on a space. If I had to recommend something for somebody who's just learning, is to have a simple model, focus on one asset class, one PD rate to enter off of, and put all your focus on psychology and risk management. And that'll serve you far better than being a wizard in technicals. Those will come with time. So let's just, like I said, play a devil's advocate. If this thing wanted to drop off lower, there's sell side liquidity underneath us. Bearish order block here. But I could see it both ways. If I'm 50-50 on something, I'm just going to elect to do nothing. Because I just personally don't see the bearish point. So sometimes you just have to wait and sit on your hands for more information. And if I missed a really clean short setup and it moved off lower, then you can't beat yourself up because that's all hindsight. Exactly. I wish somebody told me that the first day I got into trading. Is learn the technicals, find a consistent model or something that can get you consistent profits, of course. But if you're able to manage yourself and know yourself very well, it's going to serve you far better. Because I built up so many terrible habits that I had to unlearn and break and figure out. I would recommend the Mental Game of Trading by Jared Tindler. It's the best book out there. What would make you think price is going to sell side or invalidate the long idea? I would need a number of factors. I would need dollar index to move higher, which I don't see happening. I would need some sudden displacement where we're breaking probably the equilibrium or the CE of this fair value gap in here. Even looking at the higher time frames, we're still inside of the 1 hour. So there's too little information for me to look for a short. I have side hustles and things as well. MK. So you see how we drop down into this inefficiency here inside of the discount. Optimal trade entry. So if I can start getting some evidence that we want to move higher and there's a good entry for me, then I would be willing to re-enter back into the market on the original idea that I had at this entry here. Yeah, Faber, that's such a good point. I mean, having respect for these markets and not trying to arm wrestle them or think you're smarter than them is huge. Because I mean, I have so many scars, I have so much pain that I've I've experienced through these that I'm very timid. Like even though you'll see me on here, I'm very timid with these markets. I'm very scared of them, to be honest. I wouldn't say scared. Let me put it in a different word. Cautious. I know how fast things can go from good to bad. I know how quickly I can make things go from good to bad very, very quickly. I mean, my old self, if I got stopped out here, even on one position on my first trade, I would start tilting, and I'd start immediately trying to revenge trade this and either trying to go long again, trying to short this. I mean, you just have to reel yourself, you have to pull yourself out of that. Basically, you get possessed when you're tilting. You have to pull yourself out of it. It's not easy. Exactly, Boxy. I have major PTSD. I mean, I've done some damage to my psyche throughout the years. The ticker is DXY. Where would a market structure shift form for price to move higher? So we're still, this is where market structure shifts. I'm not a huge fan of them. It's the reason why you don't see me pointing them out a lot, because I'm more or less looking at displacement and energetic displacements, and I'm looking at PD arrays, because even on a turtle soup, you don't need a shift in market structure. You could have just a raid beneath sell side, displaces higher, doesn't even shift above an old high, reacts off of a bullish PD array, and it displaces higher. But if you look at, let's say, a 15-minute time frame, we're still in a bullish, let's say, shift in market structure. We shifted above this high, right? Look at the 5-minute, shift above this old high in here. So this is the parent dealing range to the 1-minute. So everything that's residing inside of it, to me, this is still a bullish dealing range. So we'd have to break underneath that low for this to really be bearish, in my opinion. That's the reason why I'm still electing to just stay on side with the bullish narrative. I'm not switching. If you've ever seen Wolf of Wall Street, the famous scene, I'm not fucking leaving. I mean, that's how I am when I have a solid bias, is I'm not switching until something is clearly proven to me that I need to switch it, which to me there isn't enough evidence. I see you, Emmanuel. I'll check after the stream. Do you know your MTBI type? I don't know what that means. So, no.
Toyota can't get enough of you, because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive.
Stupid YouTube ads.
So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
No, I do not, Jay. So do you see how staying on side and drawing that line in the sand is really going to help you? Because if you saw that, you got stopped out, and you're like, all right, well, now it's bearish, and you're chasing these shorts, and then you get stopped out on shorts, and you're like, oh, now it's long again. This becomes a mess. It becomes a mess real quick. That's where staying on side with one bias until you're completely proven wrong with enough evidence is very, very key. So we have a fair value gap here that just formed. And we got above this old SIBI. So it's going to act as an inversion level still. So now I'm going to change that to orange. So if I took a loss on 4 contracts, then I'd move my next position down to 2. I'd cut it in half. I'm just scanning the time frames to make sure that if I did go long in here again, I really got to make sure that I'm confident in doing so. I mean, we're revisiting this fair value gap in here, but Dow's just kind of not in sync with anything, but let me check ES and the others. So I could go long in here, but I may wait for another displacement higher again, just to give me that confirmation. Because either A, we're just revisiting this SIBI as a reclaimed, and I want a little bit more evidence. You see how we revisited this? So I'm just kind of being a little bit cautious in here, especially after you take a loss. I'm doing my best to just analyze correctly. And I know even if we displace higher in here, I'm not going to miss a move. There's probably going to be something in here that forms. So hopefully that was a good little lesson there. Trading is very much a balancing act. You're constantly weighing decisions and making movements. So I'm just trying my best to make the best decision in here, which is, to me, it hasn't really displaced energetically just yet. Yes, we've gotten above this old SIBI. We're inside of that fair value gap. If we get above this old high here, then to me, I would be pretty confident that we're going to at least try to start rallying towards the buy side again. And I'm comfortable with the idea that even if we move higher, there's probably going to be some type of fair value gap or something that forms in here to where I would feel a little bit more secure about entering into that. This is a little bit more high risk to enter in here, so I'm going to wait for a potential shift higher again, just to kind of give me that extra sense of confidence. How do I feel about DXY staying in this range? I mean, I'd prefer not to, but it just is what it is. I can't control it. Well, if I entered in on this on paper trading, then I'll have to do it. But let's say I entered in here. I would go beneath this last down close candle in here and beneath that low. I'd be looking to target that high. But as I just discussed, I'm waiting for a little bit more information before I enter into the market. So the mean threshold of this last down close candle. If you're ever entering off of a, whatever it may be, fair value gap, order block, always look beneath it or above it and see, you always want to put your stop loss at least beneath one PD ray or two PD rays. So PD ray is a fair value gap, an order block, breaker, etc. So in here, if I entered off of the inversion with the fair value gap, then this up down close candle is the second PD ray and this little price run. So it would need to respect this in order for us to go higher. And that's the reason why I'm just being cautious right now to wait for that extra little bit of confirmation. Wolf, I mean, both are very valid. That's shift in market structures is all subjective. Maybe I'll do a teaching over it, but it's too much for me to explain right now. All I'd say is focus on a draw on liquidity, stick with it, and focus on energetic displacements towards that draw on liquidity. Shouldn't you be watching all three indices together? Yeah, I have on my other monitor, I have all three indexes up. So do you see here how I stayed patient? I didn't chase that long, and that was due to the reason that it's been very, let's say, fickle to move higher today. And I saw they were revisiting this fair value gap. I didn't like the close of the 5-minute. So even though there was a 1-minute bullish fair value gap in here, I was electing to wait for a little bit more confirmation. And that really has to do with fear of missing out. I don't have a fear of missing out because I know that more than likely we would have had some type of entry up here if I wanted to get into the position. So it's all about knowing your skill set and knowing the tools that you wield. To be honest, this is not something that's super favorable. We may be inside of consolidation today. These are a little bit harder to predict. Seek and destroy profiles or consolidation, they're a lot harder to predict and obviously participate in. So we're just gonna have to see what happens. I mean, right now this is not favorable at all to do anything, at least in my opinion. So I'm just going through the time frames again. We're still inside of the 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute discount fair value gap, even the 5-minute. NQ versus Dow bullish S&P on 5-minute. What do you need for its confirmation? I mean, I see it. I know you're talking about Dow's making a lower low in here, while ES and NQ are failing to not do so. So it's a good sign if we want to keep looking for higher prices in here. But again, I would need some type of energetic displacement, something showing me So we took out sell stops here. The Mental Game of Trading by Jared Tindler. There's so many questions, man. I mean, I'm not going to be able to get to these and answer all of them. Like, a 30-second chart, I don't use a 30-second chart. Sell side liquidity on the RTH. I mean, again, I'm doing nothing right now. There's no reason to do anything. Yeah, Dow's really has dropped off lower in here compared to ES and Q. Dollar index is starting to reverse, so it may not want to take out the sell side. It's an option. If on the 5-minute time frame we close beneath this low in here with a pretty bearish closure, then I would elect to believe we're going to look for the sell side. But for now, you can see I'm doing nothing. Yep, I've watched plenty of his office hours. He's fantastic on YouTube. So this is where trading is just simply patience, and it's boring. Trading's not always profits and high euphoric feelings. Sometimes it's very boring and a lot of patience, a lot of waiting and doing nothing. And you can see here, that's really what it is. I mean, I'm doing nothing until I see something that would clearly prove to me that I need to enter the market. Not need, but should. And this is where, like, if you're on a second chart, a 30-second, 15, 5-second, you could see so many entries. You could see so much stuff, which also results in a lot of losses. So, for me, the lowest I'm going to go is a 1 minute. Hey, good to see you, Phoenix. Welcome to the stream. Hope you've been enjoying. It's been pretty eventful today. I mean, we'll have to see how this macro plays out. We're coming into the, at least my time, yes, it's central, but this little 20-minute window. We'll see if this will start to spool towards the drawn liquidity. If not, then I'm probably done for the day. I don't see a reason to sit on here after that. So it just depends how we really want to close out the week. Like, if we truly are bullish in here, this candle would close extremely bullish. Again, what's the parent? Parent is this 1 hour fair value gap, 30 minute, 15 minute fair value gap there, and then the breaker here. So look at the wicks, or the bodies. They're closing inside of it. And it's actually all of these consecutive up close candles, but I'm going to refine it just to this one. So the dollar's really spiking up higher. About 11 minutes to the close on the hourly candle. Should give some information as far as what will happen the rest of the day. Because if the bodies close outside of it, if we draw up higher, then that would be a good sign for higher prices, but it doesn't look like we're getting that right now. So what would make me switch from a bullish to bearish? As I mentioned, I would probably need a strong closure on the 5 minute beneath the low here. And there's sell side here, sell side there. If you look at Dow's kind of leading the 3 here. Alright, Trader Sumo. Best of luck to you, buddy. I did. I just hit him. I mean, bro. Don't ever be that person. Don't ever be a sad individual going into other people's streams every day. Those are the type of people, if you saw me in person, you wouldn't say a word. And those are the people that I generally dislike because they discourage people away from these concepts. We're moving into the macro here. So obviously the bullish bias to me is pretty invalidated. Did I see that necessarily coming? No. So was I wrong on the analysis? Yes, but it's just not something I was leaning towards. I can't beat myself up and look at hindsight and say, you know, I should have sold short here and here. In real time, that's not what I was thinking. There wasn't enough evidence for it. So if there's something that would allow me to potentially go short, then that might be an option. I still don't particularly find the reasoning for it, but we'll just have to see. We have to reanalyze a few things. So that last up close candle would be the bearish order block there. Hey, Ali, love to see another charter member as well. Yeah, I'm surprised that they didn't take the previous day high, or which was yesterday with CPI. I'm surprised that didn't happen. That's what I was looking for, and we've got this displacement lower. Dollar's really been a mess this week in terms of analyzing and trying to. This is the main reason why I was looking for higher prices, right? As I was looking for dollar to keep going lower. But we're inside of consolidation. It makes it really, really difficult because at one moment you're thinking that, you know, dollar's going to move lower and then it reverses. So if you look at dollar, we got real close to the sell side liquidity and then we outright reversed. So that made it a little bit difficult. Even I think yesterday as well. I'm going to elect to do currently nothing right now. I mean, I know where the draw on liquidity could be at. It could be those lows there. But I don't see anything to get into the market. So I just would have to wait. ICT swing quoting. How'd you overcome self-sabotage currently in that rabbit hole? Yeah, I mean, it's dialing back your risk on whatever account you're trading, dialing back your frequency, setting way more strict rules for yourself, and then doing the work on yourself to figure out why you're self-sabotaging. I mean, it's completely normal. It's a normal trait to have as a trader, but you need to figure out those root causes as to why that's happening. Map out a pattern. Map out the certain things that you do, because there's certain buildups to your tilt, probably explosions, and your self-sabotage that you're not catching. There's a little unique, things that you're doing, and if you start to map that out, you start to see the patterns behind it, and then you can interrupt it in real time. You can interrupt that pattern before it unfolds. I think even me being on live it's really, really, really good accountability, because I couldn't really sit here and just self-sabotage and start, tilting and doing a bunch of things, because obviously it's in front of others. So I would say that's a pro to live streaming. Obviously the con is the pressure of trying to be perfect and trying to put on a winner every single time, so viewers, obviously think you're the best trader in the world, but that's not a reality. It truly isn't. And I wouldn't even judge a live streamer off of one session, 1 week. I would need to see months and over a course of a year of them live streaming to judge them. So you see bearish order block there, the tail end of it. I just don't see anything particularly in here that would be appealing for me to go short. I also just I don't see the reasoning to go lower. And that may be being super stubborn, but I just don't see it, man. I don't. Because we've already taken out sell side. We've already returned into this fair value gap here. I may just be obviously misreading it, but I'm just going to elect to do nothing. It's the best case scenario right now. I'm not going to try to force a hand when it's not clear to me. That's a skill set in and of itself, is to just be patient. If you don't see anything, it doesn't mean that you're bad as a trader. It just means that either A, you don't have an experience, or B, there's just nothing there. Yeah, exactly, Danny. I mean, that's the reason why this is pretty hard to read this. Yesterday, even today, this dollar's just been inside of consolidation. If dollar was clearly bearish, clearly one-sided, it would have been fairly easy to read this week, or even today. How does midnight open factor into all this? It's just a power of three concept. Open, high, low, close. Just utilizing it, midnight open in real time, where price is in accordance to the midnight open. You want to, if you're in a bearish kind of bias, then you want to be shorting above midnight open. If you're bullish, you want to be longing beneath midnight open, preferably. You don't always have to. So do you see I'm not electing to short this because I don't see enough evidence for me to want to short it. Justin, I already blocked him. Trader Sumo dude. I was gonna allow him to be in here if he was not extremely annoying, but people sent me some posts that he keeps doing this to basically every ICT streamer, so I mean, it's just a sad individual. Stock Hero, it should be free. I mean, ICT higher time frame candles. He is in fact a geek. If the price took the previous day high, I would definitely took the short. Yeah, I think we got too close, built up relative equal highs in here for me to even see a short bias coming into the session. So I didn't anticipate that. So we closed on the 1 hour here. And it's still, to me, bullish. So it's very seek and destroy if you look at the pattern of it. Where we're dropping down, we're taking out multiple levels of sell side liquidity, and then we're displacing higher, taking out buy side liquidity. So if we then again drop lower to take out sell side, that's a pretty aggressive profile. And to me, the work's already been done on the sell side. It's already been taken. We've already rejected off of a discount BISI in here. So unless I saw enough evidence for me to want to short, then that would be a viable option. But even in here, there's really not good sell side liquidity levels. Even here, look at the 15-minute. And let's just say this thing outright does go bullish. This is a beautiful example and demonstration where you're drawing the line in the sand to do nothing until you see evidence on one side. You're drawing the line in the sand to only stick with one side, because you easily could have been in here trying to long this again, trying to short this again, switching constantly back and forth. To me, when I don't have enough evidence for one side, then I have to stick with one. Or do nothing, like I've been doing. Well, we may do nothing today. It's a Friday, so we may close out the week and really do nothing, which is fine. Hardest thing to do is to end the week on a loss and eat that loss, but sometimes you just have to eat it and be comfortable with it. You can't always make back all your money. Yeah, Blake, I've been seeing that. I know, like, he's in Tanya's streams and a couple other streams, so he's just a virus. Get him out of here. Only positive, good vibes in here. Could bearish PDRA on indices be a result of DXY reversing after taking yesterday's low? I was hoping for yes. Yeah. Yeah, dollar index has not been helpful at all. It's been just consolidational sideways. So now we've ended the silver bullet. So if you're in the strict silver bullet window, which I highly recommend, and it's the whole point of the stream, you'd be done for the day, and that's that. It's extremely difficult to want to do that and get off, you know, the charts, especially even if you've taken a loss and you potentially see that the later portion of the day is going to move. But that's part of your discipline, it's part of your rules and staying consistent, because it may not actually move. You may end up taking even more losses when you should have just got off the charts and moved on with the day and with the week. So when will I upload my log? Probably later today. I'm just gonna sit on here because it's a Friday, last day of the week, and I'll probably sit for, I don't know, 30 more minutes. I just want to see if anything starts to unfold. Sometimes the silver bullet can be unfruitful, and then the hour after starts to unfold. So, but if we start moving lower here, then I'm gonna get off stream because I don't see a reason to short this, and I don't want to be a part of the shorts. Even if you were shorting this today, I think it's hard price action to be a part of, in my opinion. Pretty difficult. If you just look at the silver bullet window, the best play in here was taking this short, where I took the long and took the loss. That was the best play, but I didn't have the bias of going short in here, so sometimes that's going to happen. That is what it is. But you got to pull out the positives and the pros of it. What did I not do? I didn't go back into the market immediately. I didn't chase longs. I didn't FOMO into this position here that I was outlining. So there's a lot of good things that really I did well today. So obviously, sucks to say, I'm profitable on my live account today. I took that long here pre-open, and so I guess only on paper trading I'm negative. Hey Blake, what's up, brother? Of course I remember you. Good to see you. Good to see the OGs. What would be my rules? I mean, my rules is I would need a very good confirmation that would be one-sided, clearly. So we have, if you pull up chart here, you have ES inside of a discount, fair value gap there. Look at NQ, inside of it, and then look at Dow. So right at this line here at 7:15 my time, ES has not made the lower low, NQ has not made the lower low, but Dow's made a lower low. So that is a bullish SMT. But SMT alone is not enough. You need confirmation of that. SMT is just a confirmation. It's a confluence to whatever you're looking for originally. I took a long at 11:02 fair value gap. I mean, that's up to you, my friend. I'm not gonna tell you whether your entry is good or bad. I loved how you stick on your buy. Yeah, and I mean that's where drawing the line in the sand and saying no, this is where I'm electing to only do one thing because there wasn't enough evidence. There's not enough evidence for me to short it, so. I think that's the number one thing you could pull out of the live stream is really sticking with one side until you're completely proven incorrect. Because I think a lot of people would have saw this as a short opportunity. They saw this huge drop lower. They're trying to short this fair value gap, and then they potentially might get ran. How do you know it's a good fair value gap? Well, that has to be paired with time and narrative and the correct draw on liquidity. There's a lot of things that pair a good fair value gap. So now we're moving. We're starting to displace higher in here, which I really do like. It's good. We have a level buy side here. A lot of new people in here, welcome. I appreciate all the new viewers. Hope you guys have been enjoying. Hopefully it's a little bit different than most live streams. Yep, I love that quote. It's my entry or nothing, or it's my bias or nothing. And I got that from his name's Stock God on Twitter. He used to be huge in the ICT community, but he's kind of been MIA on Twitter. He helped me significantly in my psychology. So let's look at the 15-minute. Starting to close above this down close candle in here. One hour closed inside of that. So, I mean, I can't emphasize enough what I've been through today, like with you guys, and explaining to you, like, sticking with one side until you're proven wrong. I'm waiting for that evidence. I mean, I would have needed a closure beneath this 1 hour fair value gap, because that's the parent to all of this. That's what we're still residing inside of. The daily's bullish, weekly's bullish, everything's bullish. So I can't elect to just immediately switch to shorts just because we're displacing lower. This is just a highly manipulated lower time frame kind of session that we had in the silver bullet. So I'm going to see if something will probe me to go long in here, but I'm still going to be waiting for a little bit more evidence. And down here you see fair value gap in there. It's a little premature, but if you're comfortable, if you look at it, this is a 3 drive pattern, which is really good if you're looking for confirmation. We have 3 drives, so ICT calls it the 3 Indian heads, where we have a drive underneath sell side once, twice, 3 times, and then reverse. 2 levels of buy side liquidity in here. If you remember this SIBI, I'm going to extend that out in time. Amazing, Kevin. Yep. I mean, to me, it was just a little bit, I guess, premature. That's just in my eyes, but Again, it's whatever you're comfortable with. Don't let me discourage you away from a certain entry. I think that Trader Sumo guy asked, do I have a 50-point range on my chart? Which, yes, I do, because this is an entire inefficiency here. You can see we just dropped back down into it, basically filling in that entire inefficiency. But those type of people, if they don't see it, I don't need to explain to you. I don't need to convince you of these concepts. It's, you know, I used to do that all the time and try to convince people of these concepts and try to show them and explain them, you know, how these concepts work. But if you don't see it and you don't believe it, I really don't care. It's the same thing with ICTs, you know. Like, my bank account and the profits that are shown prove to me that these do exist. Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, just trying to lend as much experience as I can. Because, I mean, there's one thing to know these concepts, but there's another to have spent a lot of time, years with these concepts and seeing them unfold over and over and over and over and over again. Because we all may know what a fair value gap is, but I've spent years with these fair value gaps. I'm very intimate with these concepts. Typically, if I would be looking for, I'd say a good beginning month for a beginner is probably 2 to 3%. But some months are different. If you can see a position, once you get more comfortable, if you can see a position running for a lot more, then you can hold on to it and take partials out. So sometimes you may have a goal, but you may either surpass that or you may, you know, like let's say you shoot for 5% a month. Sometimes you may surpass that because the month allowed you to do so. Sometimes it may not have. So it's good to have a target, but sometimes you may surpass it or you may not. Bullish breaker 1 minute. Yeah, I was actually gonna annotate that. So we have a low, a high, a lower low, then a higher high. Besides the 10-year and the, I think you meant DXY, what would be the other ticker to use as confluence? I mean, all the other indexes, NQ, or ES and YM, DXY, bonds, and then even looking at the Forex market as confluence and just getting an overall read can really help. I start every single week out reading dollar index, bonds, Forex, and then even index futures. And in a session, I'm looking at dollar index. I'm looking at the other two crosses for index futures, and of course, the main asset I'm trading. I got you, stock. So what am I doing in here? Really, I'm just waiting for an entry to form that I would particularly be in favor of. I'm not fearful, even if we displace higher in here. That's probably a good thing. I'm not fearful of missing anything. I will be live every day before the open. Appreciate you, Stock Hero. What's up, brother? I am not the GOAT. I appreciate it, though. It's good to see you in here, brother. You're truly an OG. I know you've been grinding. Keep at it. So we have a 5-minute in here, but I'd rather that be left open.
For Shopify, were you wondering where my sales at? But now you're selling with Shopify. You're easily selling online in person.
15-minute bullish order block there.
Millions of entrepreneurs use Shopify
May not
to ignite
get
their
down
sales.
into it.
Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/YouTube audio.
Yeah, hopefully, Kevin. We'll see where this channel takes off. So the main focus is here, right? We're looking for the buy side there. And ultimately, the highs here. I got you, brother. Yeah, Danny, I think we were in that group before ICT went back on Twitter and kind of, brung in a whole mass of people. Like, all of us know each other, which is funny because it was just such a small community. Which, I mean, I love the big community now, but I did enjoy the little community that we did have with Stock God and FX21. There's so many people back then that were hilarious. You see this old Sibby, we wicked above it, came back down as an inversion. Look at the bodies, and then a small little fair value gap with the breaker, rejected off of. So I'd really like for price to run through this Sibby in here. I don't want it to start stalling out in here. Otherwise, this may just go into consolidation, and that may be the rest of the day. Going through the CE of this Sibby in here on the 5-minute would be a really good sign. But I'm doing my best not to get caught up inside of some type of consolidation. But a couple decent scalps in here if you wanted to, but if I enter into something, you're going to see it. So you have to look at the time as well. I mean, we're not in the most favorable time, which is post Silver Bullet and moving into lunch hour. I don't particularly love this time. But if New York or Silver Bullet has been consolidating, the hour after sometimes can allow price to move. But there has to be confluences. There has to be things that are aligned for that to happen. I'm trying to predict if we're really going to get this expansion higher today or not. Like I mentioned, I'm really not trying to get caught up in consolidation, and that's a hard thing to predict. Overall, today's been a mess. So yeah, it's 2021. I was going to join in 2020, but then I just found the core content and it was on his YouTube, and then I finally just made the decision to do it. I'm in Asia. Do you have any recommendations on trading the Silver Bullet in Asia/London session? I mean, price is price and time is time, so I mean, it's still going to do the exact same functions, but I just find New York to be a lot more high probability it's more posed or poised to move during that time. So now we've made pretty relative equal highs in here, right? So I really would like to see an energetic displacement away from the inversion in here and get above this old high. It may be a PM session type of day, I'm not particularly sure, but I'm trying to hold out for the stream to see if this really wants to move higher, but I'm gonna give it a little bit more, and if not, then I'm gonna hop off. I'm done for the week. Quite tired. So what I'm doing currently, this is my thought process and the same thing I did earlier. And here, when I was like, well, I could enter here, but I'm going to wait for a little bit more confirmation. So this is what I'll do sometimes, is if I'm not confident in an entry, I'm going to wait for it to displace away from a point of interest. So I could go long in here, but I'm going to wait and see, can we get a little bit higher displacement above the SIBI in here, or even into it, confirming to me that we really want to move higher, because I'm fairly confident that there's going to be some type of entry that I could go long in there, and that way I'm protecting myself, and I know that I could at least find an entry up here to target the buy side. Because on the contrary, yes, I may not have the best entry, but at least I'm protecting myself from a potential loss. Same thing I did here earlier. Yeah, Eric, that could be a potential, another macro that we could move into at the end of this hour, moving into lunch. 15-minute order block here, just notate it. A lot of patience today, a lot of patience, man. It would be nice with the 30-minute candle to close above this high here. That'd be treated as a bullish order block.
The rhythm, it calls out to me.
This is a good sign in here. This is what you want to see. Getting above this old high in here and digging into that old SIBI is really, really good. Yep, I see that. If dollar index can drop off lower here and attack the sell side, it's going to be a really good sign for indexes to move higher. Man, I've had to pee for the last hour, but I want to stay on here. Yeah, me too, man. It's dollar's been super difficult this week. I mean, it's still January, which is, I'm just surprised by the price action in index futures this week or this month so far. I mean, typically it's never like this where you're having large ranges and moving a whole ton in January. Typically it's very consolidational, and it's the reason why ICT doesn't start trading till the first week of February. So you have to remember the time and seasonality that you're in. Sometimes there's exceptions to the rule that we're kind of getting this year. Looking for buy side, or looking for delivery to buy side by noon. Yeah, me too, man. I think we could get it. Alright, Bruce, I'm gonna do it. I'll be back. Yeah, this trading session has felt extremely long. I'm back. This is where just fatigue will set in, and you may end up making some mistakes because of impatience and fatigue. And you have to do your best to stay focused. Even for me, I'm pretty fatigued. I mean, it's been 2.5 hours on here, so man, I don't want to wait for that macro, but just for the stream and for what I've been outlining, I'm gonna do it. So it may turn into like a 3-hour stream, which is whatever. Because if it ends up playing out, then at least I'm happy I stayed. I don't even know how many people are on here. Appreciate all you staying and being on here. Still 145. I mean, welcome if you're new. If I wasn't on stream, I'd probably be scrolling Twitter or just journaling, sometimes sketching, just doing something to preoccupy my mind. And this is exactly what I didn't really want to be caught up in. I don't want to be caught up inside of consolidation. I don't want to be sitting in a position where it's just moving sideways. I need to see some clear evidence. So 30-minute. It's not the best close. Like I said, this thing could just stay inside of consolidation the rest of the the rest of the day. So it's something I'm trying to be aware of and be cautious of, rather than me pushing for a narrative or a bias. Yeah, swinging is not it's probably not the most fun thing to do, but I can see where it could actually be a lot more favorable at times than just sitting in a New York session like this. But that's all right, man. I mean, just keep grinding. I know you're right there, bro. Like, I've been seeing all your posts. I know how long you've been grinding for. Hey, that's all right, Wolf. Glad you stayed on here for that long. Have a good weekend, brother. You're a trooper if you've been through this entire live stream. %, 100%. I can't wait to see it, man. I will be giving you major flowers. So really what the only thing I'm looking for after this, and if I don't get it, then I'm getting off the stream, is the macro. So I believe in this little window of time, I'm going to wait for that. Yeah, Alex, I've described it, but I'm just waiting for confirmation. I've been bullish the entire day. I've elected to stay on one side and only wait for that. We took a loss earlier in here, so after that I've just been waiting for the confirmation that this thing really wants to go higher. And what is that confirmation? Only time really will tell, and I'll let you know that, you know, what I'm seeing and if it's something that is favorable. But I do like a lot of the buy side that's being built up in here. For the Robin's Cup that ICT is doing this year, did they publish the results? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they update it every day, as far as I know. It's like an end of day update. So we'll be able to see it live, and I'm sure he's going to post his results on YouTube. It's going to be a wild year. It's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait to see how that unfolds. So last point of interest is this 5-minute fair value gap, and I'm not going to go long in it. That's like the first confirmation for me. If we get a rejection away from it and we get some up close candles, start moving towards buy side, then that would confirm to me that we can go long. Otherwise, this thing may go inside of consolidation, and the 1-minute breaker as well. So I'm going to clear this off. I'm just going to have this small fair value gap there. Yeah, dollar is just, it is a complete mess, man. When you're trading NQ and ES or YM, if you're trading any of those, and it's super easy when dollar is moving to clearly one side, but this whole week has not moved out of its range, which makes it difficult to trade index futures. That's the reason why I'm not so heavily on pushing the idea of just pushing along in here. If dollar was clearly bearish and I could clearly see it going lower again, then I would be probing along in here, but there's not enough influence for me to do so. So again, do you see how waiting for that extra bit of confirmation is going to help you protect yourself from losses, rather than prematuring entering into it. Yeah, I mean that's basically it. That's confirming to me that this is not wanting to rally higher today. So that's gonna call it. I mean, I don't have anything else on the table. So took one loss today live on stream, and that's all it is. I mean, sometimes you can't do anything else, right? That's gonna be it. I mean, if you guys have any other questions or things on your mind, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna close out the stream. Yeah, of course. Appreciate all you being on here. Welcome for all those who are new. I'll be live streaming every day before the open and the silver bullet. Enjoy your weekend too, brother. You're welcome, everybody. Have a good weekend. Be safe.